Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more turkey patterning. But today, we've definitely got a pretty interesting load, or pretty kind of out there idea, because it's not exactly a turkey load, or at least that's not what it's really designed for. But several of you guys have suggested that I test these out to see, well, what can they really do? Can they be a potentially cheaper and lighter recoil turkey load option? I don't know. It's plausible, I guess, but until we test it to see what kind of pattern we get, we just don't know. I hope they do well, but it'll definitely be something interesting to see either way. So for the shell I picked up and brought out here today, several of you guys wanted to see some of these tested for turkeys. These are the Fiocchi Golden Pheasant shells. They are a 12 gauge, 2 3/4 inch ounce and 3/8 payload of lead number 5s, moving about 1250 feet per second. And yep, these are pretty much your typical upland pheasant type of shells. Nothing really special about them. They are a little bit lighter of a payload than some of your turkey shells, being right about 1 3/8 instead of like 1 3/4 or 1 7/8. And they're a 2 3/4 inch shell, so they should, in theory, be lighter on the recoil. And if they can perform and give us a decent pattern, then there's no reason why you can't use these for turkeys. So definitely going to be a very interesting test. They might work out. They might look terrible. I don't know, but it's at least worth a shot to see, because these I think are like $27 or $28 a box for 25 shells. So you're looking at way cheaper than plenty of your turkey shells, that's for sure. So we're going to test them and see, well, could they potentially be a turkey shell option for somebody who's curious? And here's what one of those shells looks like. Just your pretty typical 2 3/4 inch 12 gauge shell, but it doesn't look like there's any buffer in here. So that may very well play into what kind of pattern we see, plus what kind of wad it has in it. So I don't know. We'll see how well these actually pattern. And as for the setup we've got to run them through today, I brought out the Remington 1187 here with this choke, which is the Tight Wad 660 constriction turkey choke. I figured, number one, this Tight Wad is definitely a budget option. So if somebody might be looking at these shells, they might be looking towards that budget option. So $25 choke here, plus 660 constriction. That's one of the very common 12 gauge turkey constrictions. And I don't know, it might work together, it might not. We just got to shoot it and see what happens. But as for the test today, I am not going to handicap these shells at all. They're going to get put through the same turkey test we always do, which is having the turkey target set up at 40 yards. I also have the chronograph, so we'll be able to see what kind of speed we're actually moving. So let's get you guys a view of the target. We'll take the shot, look at the chrono, and then go look at our results. I don't know what to expect with these. Can these upland pheasant loads actually be a turkey shell or not? Let's go over here and take a shot and see what kind of results we can get. Okay, so that shell gave us 1305 through the chrono. The box was claiming 1250. Either way, though, I don't think we're completely out of the ballpark of what these shells are most likely kind of moving at, but we are definitely getting up there in velocity a little bit, as for a turkey shell anyway. But how did they actually perform down there at 40 yards for a turkey type of situation? Let's go down and check it out. All right, now we're down here at our 40-yard paper, and this is what we got. Now, technically, before anything else, we do have a dead turkey here. There are two that clipped the brain right there, so you would have gotten that turkey one way or the other. Now, clearly, looking at the rest of the pattern here, this is by no means a turkey pattern. We definitely don't have any central core area. I think the pattern might have been just a touch high and a touch right, which would put our core kind of right around the top right corner of that turkey paper. And as you can see, it looks pretty much no different than the outside edges. And within this pattern, we definitely have a lot of larger gaps and voids and holes and stuff all over the pattern here. When it comes to a turkey type of pattern, that is not at all what we're looking for. Now, is that a case of being over constricted or not constricted enough on the chokes part? I don't know. Maybe if you guys might want to see a little bit more or a little bit less constriction or a specific type of choke, then by all means let me know and we'll see how it does in a turkey hunting scenario. But I don't think we're necessarily going to see much different result from this. But it could also be due to a combination of there being no buffer material in these shells and with the type of wad they use, which we'll take a look at here in a second. But I'm thinking it's probably a combination of all three. I think you could probably go out and get just about any number 5 shell and probably get a very similar result to this. But at the end of the day, yes, you would have come home with the turkey, but definitely not at all what I'm looking for in a turkey pattern, that's for sure. They do have noticeably less recoil than a typical 3-inch turkey shell, so that's something anyway. I mean, if you're recoil sensitive and are going to be taking 20 or 25-yard shots, then sure, you could absolutely do it with that shell if you wanted to. But in a normal turkey test type of standard here, definitely nowhere near impressive, and I would not hunt with that combo. We're not off to a fantastic start, but that's not completely surprising either, I suppose, on this one. Okay, and here's the wad they use in those shells, and it straight up kind of looks like a field load or a target load type of wad, which it pretty much is. Definitely not what I would call full length at all. So all of your shot is not going to be in this wad. You're going to have some pellets stacked up over the top of it as they leave the shell. But I mean, there's no rips or tears or shot stuck down in there or anything like that. So I mean, I think the wad did about as good as what it could have done through this setup in today's scenario, but definitely not what I'd call a turkey wad. And I don't think this style of wad with having no buffer material in there is going to give us any kind of decent looking turkey pattern. But I don't know. We can test it through some different chokes and see what it does, I suppose. All right, y'all. Well, what did you think about that performance there? To be honest with you, it's pretty much kind of what I expected to see. A cheaper field load type of shell with that style of wad and no buffer in it. You could probably pull just about any typical number 5 shell off of the shelf and get very similar results to that. Now, technically, yeah, you would have gotten the turkey. And technically, yes, if you would have shot the turkey at 20 or 25 yards, you would have had plenty more pellets actually hit where you wanted him to hit. But as for a dedicated turkey shell, I'm saying probably not so far. But I don't know. Leave your thoughts about it in the comments. Is that about what you expected to see? Were you hoping for a little bit better or surprised one way or the other? If you have tested these shells in more of a turkey sense, what kind of results have you gotten? And if you're one of the people that really wanted to see these shells tested, what other chokes or setups might you want to see these through to see if we can improve these results any? Let me know all that stuff down below. But either way, I've got some more testing to film for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All that information will be in the description if you're interested, but I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.